I mean, what are some of the key impediments that you've seen that would affect a man having, a relationship with other people in a positive way, relationship with a partner, and then eventually having children, a relationship with the children? What are some of the key impediments that you've seen?
A significant one is the bonding with that male role model, that male caregiver. We use the word caregiver because it's not always a biological dad.
Yeah.
It could be even a grandfather, an uncle, but it is all about the bonding with
Mm,
at least one significant other. So ideally, of course, it's just got to be good enough with a mother
hmm.
because you don't get a choice there because she's carried this fetus for 9 months and
Mm,
the baby's going to come out. So that's a significant one. If that bonding is disrupted, that's going to have real big issues. And then you start to talk about
yeah.
this thing called attachment or insecure attachment, which we'll touch on. But the role of the father is really significant because a mother who is feminine cannot replicate the masculine role as much as she tries to do what she can do. She can't replicate the masculine, and all the research, all the writings will show us
Mm,
something about the best rounded child is one that has these two parent figures. Um, Probably not rocket science, but we do our best in the society that we have with a single parent. It's not a criticism, we do our best. But really, what I'm saying is a lot of what I do is to help individuals where those impediments back there in childhood are now having adverse impacts in their adulthood, in how they're trying to do life, trying to do relationships with others, and they realize something's amiss.
mm. So from that side of things, I mean, you talk about, you mentioned it earlier about the masculine role, and there's some information out there about and questions about whether it's actually we're taught this role and we're taught to be masculine, or whether it's part of our DNA, our genetic makeup that the males, I can't remember which has the Y chromosome. I think it's the males. That we that it's that actually makes us, or testosterone that makes us that little bit more aggressive, a little bit more masculine, so to speak. Um, is it, in your opinion, is it something that's learnt, or is it something that is part of the genetic makeup of what makes a male a male?
This is so tricky and difficult for me to answer because the minute I answer it, I've alienated a significant number of your listeners because we have
I
transgender, we have all the shifts, and so I walk into a minefield the minute I go near it with a
mm,
disparity of different views. So I'm gonna, for 20 odd years of my life back in the past, I was a lawyer.
yeah.
Know that.
Okay.
So there's a
Now
level
it's
of
becoming clear.
diplomacy. There's a level of diplomacy in the
Okay,
question that
okay.
causes me to say, look, I want anyone and everyone to become the best that they can be. The minute I
Mm,
join your discussion, some folks are going to hear it and be alienated because they disagree with my view. Um, and so I sidestep it purposely by
mm,
saying it's a discussion which lots of us should have around the dinner table, but I don't have the answer to it. The rights, the wrongs, the how we get. But I do know if
mm.
we get closer to the nature nurture
Yeah.
thing, that nurture plays a significant part of the
Mm,
shaping influence. And
mm.
that's the bit which I try to get involved with as a therapist because it goes wrong at times because the baton that's handed to so many of us because of the role modeling that isn't the best. And I'm never talking about perfection. I'm talking about the parental role that needs to be good enough. When it's not good enough,
Mm.
stuff goes wrong and it shapes us, the developing children, into really stuff later in adulthood that just isn't working anymore.
'Cause it's an interesting point that you've raised there, and I like that you sidestepped it answering the question because I wonder about that because if we isolate it and say, okay, a masculine, a men, the masculine side is that more, and let's say masculine and feminine because, and I've got a lot of friends who are are gay and whether you include two females and doesn't
As
matter,
do
they're
I.
same
As do
sex.
I.
Yeah, same
Yes.
exactly. So, and from that, we don't have those discussions. We don't have discussions about whether they're gay or not, and because they're people, and
Hmm.
it's annoying that we have to sidestep around that conversation because, and I've done this in the past where I've gone, oh, I'm justifying that I've got gay friends, and I go, what the hell am I doing? The,
Absolutely. I know a black person. I've got a friend who's black. It's just, I don't even want to begin that conversation. It's just bleh, bleh.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point that I was trying to get to with this, because when you look at it, I mean, you look at a number of things. For example, one of my and I don't know that really counts as a sport, but it's battle bots. But I look at that, and there's so many wonderful female engineers in there competing just as equally with all the guys. Now, obviously, but it's not really they're not out there studying each other. Um,
And yet there's uneven pay
well, I'm not sure
for
what
the
they're
same
paid or how
skill.
that works. But from that, on that side of things. But what I'm looking at is there's an element of aggression from the women. And even if you look at, say, the UFC, I mean, there's some pretty aggressive women in there. So if we're putting it on that side of things, and that's where I'm wondering, from is it something that's learnt or is it something that's taught? Because when you flip the coin, you go, well, okay, there's a bunch of women out there that will get into an octagon and snot the crap out of each other, and there's a
They
big
have
lineup of people to do that.
they have to be. They have to be. Forgive this expression, it's the man's world. Well,
Mm,
it certainly used to be. I'm not sure about it now, but it's like they have to be to survive.
mm,
Now, what I'm thinking about, you use the engineers, I use the area of the lawyers,
yeah.
because that's an area that I trained in and then
I thought you
worked
didn't
in.
want to alienate people. You're talking about lawyers here.
Yeah, well, they're fair game. They're fair game. They're fair
Well,
game.
because what isn't it what
Um,
they say that 99% of the lawyers give the rest a bad name? So,
oh, come back. Let me bring you back. Stop it. Stop bashing us. I'm an ex-lawyer, but the point I make is in order to survive in this profession
mm,
of the solicitor, of the barrister,
mm,
and aspiring get, there's something that you almost have to become, even
mm,
if personality isn't that way inclined. You have to become. So I get it where the female engineers, it's a perception, but they have to go with the perception almost if they're going to survive in that
mm,
sector. That's how it's been set up. And if
mm,
you are going to get on and aspire through the echelons of promotion, etc., you got to you got to go into the mold. And I see the lawyers. I became a mold, a lawyer. I
mm,
learned to perform in court.
yeah.
I was never comfortable being at a party where this gregarious wife that I have wants me to get up and dance and chat to people and say hello, who are you? And it's just,
Mm.
oh no. I just want to be in the back room with one other person while you guys dance and such. But I could perform in court in
Yes.
front of an audience. But that wasn't my natural. I learned how to do it. But in my social, just one person, please, in the
Mm.
back room.